almost half of the development is catered to the bigger units, which actually shows that this would definitely cater to the upgrader demand over there. Build-up of checks from previous launches will come into play. End up, it becomes more and more competitive, more and more FOMO. This is how you catch the momentum, and this is how you ride the cycle in the new launch market. Because in today's current market, right, in fact, waiting would actually cost you more than entering early. Now, here's why. Can I have 2 espresso and 1 iced americano? Huh? No ah? Oh, sorry sir, I thought you are a waiter. Sorry, I just joking, okay? No offense over here. But are you one of those buyers who has been waiting and waiting? Maybe you guys are waiting for Zyon Grand. Maybe you guys are looking at some of the upcoming launches in the Great World area, such as the River Modern, the name has already been confirmed, or even the River Valley Parcels that is just around the corner. Now, if you are a serial waiter, okay, this video is one you don't want to miss, okay? Because in today's current market, right, in fact, waiting would actually cost you more than entering early. Now, here's why. Okay, I know that everyone has been talking about high PSF, but in fact, if you realize one thing, demand actually hasn't slowed down. In fact, right, with the Fed cutting rates, demand has been accelerating. In fact, I think demand never really slowed down, never really accelerated, it's just been fast lah. Okay, so guys, look at what has been happening to Sky at Holland. More than 8,000 visitors showed up during the preview week. And we are not even past the full preview week over here. And one thing you guys must understand when you see a situation like that, first thing is that not everybody will get a unit. 8,000 visitors, 666 units. How to math, I also don't understand. Now, when that happens, right, what will happen next, right, is that these people who didn't get their units, they will roll over to the next project and to the next project. And this thing has actually been happening since the end of last year. Remember when we had that massive launch where we saw Emerald of Katong, we saw all the projects all launching at one go, right? And people also have the same problem. They don't get the unit that they want. And all this build up, right, actually built towards today. From Sky at Holland, it was still built towards the Zyon Grand. And this demand will roll over to the next one. And that is why I always tell people, enter earlier, especially if you guys are buying for an investment. This is how you catch the momentum, and this is how you ride the cycle in the new launch market. Each sellout will fuel the next one. And I think enter the game right will be Zyon Grand. And when Zyon Grand enter the market, which with its scale, which you can't miss, and the location which is impeccable, right? And of course the branding of the developer, you guys are definitely going to be looking at something that is momentum driven. And today, I am going to break down everything for you guys with real data, with our real framework, so that you guys know exactly how to position yourself when you go for the preview. Let's go. Also, before we dive into the full-on Zyon Grand project analysis, please scan the QR code below to join my Telegram community. That is the place where I will share all my insights, my launches analysis, as well as real frameworks like this one, so that you guys will always know where and what's worth entering. Also, if you guys want a customized plan and a strategy for you when you go and approach these new launches, hit me up by scanning this QR code and reach out directly to me, because I have some free ebooks to share with you guys. Alright? So let's look at the bigger picture in the central region today, because when you understand Zyon Grand's position amongst all the new launches over there, that means you would know where the market is heading today. Now, taking references from some of the last few launches in the central region and the core central region itself, come, let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to show you guys some data over here. As you guys can see, right, for Promenade Peak, when it was launched till date, it was already sold for about 59% so far, right? It launched earlier this year, and we can see that the PSF hit the highs of 3,500 per square feet. Now, the 5-bedroom on the 52nd floor already hit the $3,500 over per square foot, and that's translated into a quantum of $6.6 million. You guys heard me correctly. 3,005 per square feet for a 99-year leasehold in not your traditional Orchard area but in the central region, which is a renewed CCR, if you know what I mean. That location itself is now been rebranded as the new core central region where livability, where layout plays a big part. So 3,500 per square foot in a slow market, meh? No ma, correct or not? Alright, next up, what do we have? Alright, next up is what we call River Green. You guys will definitely know River Green as well. 89% sold, averaging around 3,100 per square foot. Now, you guys may look at it and say, wow, very cheap or very cheap. Technically, based on quantum, is cheap. Based on PSF, if you compare to Promenade Peak, is cheap. But size-wise, I'm not a big fan of it lah, frankly, okay? So, the compact 1 and 2 bedrooms are still available. In fact, the big units are almost fully taken up already. Now, for the next one, it would be Upper House. Guys, come take a look at Upper House. Okay, so Upper House is probably one of those that in terms of location is very different from the earlier two launches as well as Zyon Grand, because this is actually at the Orchard Boulevard area, but it runs on the same MRT line which also leads you to Great World, again signifying the whole transformation that the current CCR has already shifted from your traditional Orchard, Somerset, Dhoby Ghaut. Now we are looking at what? Great World, Orchard Boulevard, Napier, Havelock. This is the new core central region. And over there, right, for Upper House itself, let's look at how it has performed so far. Right, so far it's 68% sold. In terms of prices wise, we are seeing the lows of 3,002 to the highs of 3,006 per square foot also, right? So what does that mean? That means across the board in the central region or CCR region, buyers are still entering and these projects are still moving. It's very different from last time if you guys are looking at property where CCR used to be a bit 被冷落 like they are given the cold shoulder, because back then layouts are not so relevant, amenities and facilities and even the land plots are also not that fantastic. Hence, buyers who are buying for own stay, they don't really prefer these projects. They rather go to the RCR location, and that is why the RCR locations today, the prices are fueling up. They are hitting the highs of 2007, 2008 per square foot, even all the way in Jurong. But today, as the market shifts, as the availability of units come out into the buyer stream, as the land become bigger, as the facilities become better, more and more attraction are coming from the families from the upgrader pool. Okay, so gone are the days, as I mentioned, that central region is 被冷落. As long as the quantum makes sense, developer 在 and the location good, people will buy. And that is exactly what would make Zyon Grand super grand. Okay, guys, come, let's take a look over here. So let's understand the project on a macro basis. So again, project name is Zyon Grand. Chinese name is 卓越峰. Not bad, 就卓越峰, 峰就是 on the top. Right, and this is developed by CDL, again a very reputable developer, as well as Mitsui Fudosan Group. So these both are world-class names with really solid track records. They are also, I think for Mitsui Fudosan Group, they actually also participated in developing Disneyland, right? So amazing. So imagine you can tell your kids like, oh, 这个是 Disneyland 的 builder 来的. Okay, and 2 blocks of 62 stories. 2 blocks of 62 stories, and also there is 1 block of long stay service apartment with restaurant, F&B, supermarket and an early childhood center. Now 706 units in total. Of course, this would be leasehold 99 years, and it is also integrated with the Havelock MRT station and the Thomson East Coast Line, which in my opinion is one of the transformation game changer lines of Singapore. So any property along this line, more or less, you wouldn't go wrong. Just for reference sake, if you guys remember, when there was the Northeast Line, when there was the Circle Line, properties that fall in those lines more or less did really well. Of course, there is the selection part of things, which later on in my real framework, I will also establish as well. Okay, in terms of car park lots, right? There's about 595 car park lots, 565 for residential, 30 commercial lots, so on and so forth. So TOP date will be 2032 September, roughly, right? So from the onset, I think looking at the pictures that we have over here, guys, come take a look at the facade. Just by taking a look at the facade itself, you know that this is not going to be just another condominium, right? By looking at this curvature facade, this is going to be a landmark condo, integrated development plus service apartment in the heart of District 3. Now from here, if you guys want to do a short stroll to Great World City, it's just a very short stroll. I think 过个马路就是了了. And thereafter is one stop to Orchard Boulevard, hence cementing its position as the new core central project. So I know you guys are waiting for me to ask you this question, should you buy? But actually the question isn't should you buy, it's actually what happens should you decide to wait. Now, if you wait, as I mentioned earlier on, you'll be competing with more buyers later. And more importantly, right, the land cost is still high and the construction cost hasn't dropped. And with these two factors, honestly, guys, entry PSF confirm won't be cheaper. On top of that, as I mentioned, the build-up of checks from previous launches will come into play. End up, it becomes more and more competitive, more and more FOMO. By then, should you wait or not? You ask yourself. So the smarter move right now is to really look for projects with strong clarity, fundamentals, and a very clear exit demand. Later on, I will share with you guys using our real framework, alright? And buyer's concern. And I know what some of you guys are thinking, prices so high ma, correct or not? Maybe wait lor. But if River Green can sell 88%, Promenade Peak can sell 5 bedrooms at more than 3,500 per square foot. You guys know already, it's not about price ma, it's about affordability, it's about demand. And what does this situation actually show you? The demand is high, and more importantly, people can afford. And because Singapore right now, for property itself, it is a need, and if they need it and they can afford, they will buy. So we as a buyer, we need to reposition ourselves with this mindset to enter. If the market needs you to wait, I will tell you to wait. But if the market cannot afford you to wait, I can only show you data for you guys to make your own decision whether or not you guys should enter. Alright? Now, next thing you guys will be asking me, Veroy, so many new launches in River Valley. Is there an oversupply over here? Sorry, I always like to ask rhetorical questions. Don't ask whether there is oversupply. Yes, it's true. There are quite a few launches in this location, and upcoming also a few other launches as well. But the recent performance shown us that this location has very real demand. More importantly, using this whole idea of having a lot of units available, right? Don't you think that if I'm a developer, I know that there is going to be competition, I will then also price myself competitively. I may also be more open to negotiate timelines. So don't just look at the oversupply situation, look at what's happening on the ground, and with that oversupply situation, how are you able to leverage your position to get something that suits your needs? You guys essentially today are getting a chance to buy prime central properties at today's land cost. So don't miss out on that. Veroy, but got service apartment over here leh. So have service apartment, will it spoil my exclusivity? More important, will it steal my rental demand because I'm an investor? Now, let's reposition the mindset correctly. First and foremost, Zyon Grand service apartment block is fully separated. It has its own tower, own access. I actually think it's an advantage. In fact, for myself, I also bought a property that also has a service apartment integrated into the project itself. It's at Reserve Residences. And why do I do that? Having experience serving expatriates, right? I realized one thing. When an expat goes to a service apartment in that location, they tend to get familiarized in that location, the connectivity, the so-called accessibility over there, and that kind of gives them their first impression of what home in Singapore would look like. So these tenants that go into the service apartment, they are not transient in nature. It's not like a hotel, right, where they go in for 3 to 5 days. They essentially have to lock in a minimum 1 month's tenancy for service apartment, and most of them will actually stay between 3 to 6 months. And let me ask you, if today you have been in the Zyon Grand service apartment, and after 3 to 6 months, what is your first thought? What's your first thought? You will look, within the nearby location, is there any units that I can move in for long term? And obviously, being familiarized over there already, where will they look for? Zyon Grand. Then with that, don't you think that will give you a steady pool of ready tenants? And more importantly, because the Zyon Grand service apartment and the facilities of Zyon Grand are they actually separated, you guys also don't compromise on privacy. So actually, this is a big plus point, guys. Okay, now let's get real. Let's break down Zyon Grand using my real framework and let's see if this is the kind of property that can hold, grow and exit. So what is the real framework? First and foremost, R would be resaleability, where we talk about in the future where you want to exit, will there be people to buy from you? E would be your entry price, A will be your amenities, and L would be the livability and layout. So without further ado, first up, resaleability. Let's go. Okay, so when I talk about resaleability, I'm talking about who you can sell to next time. So first thing, let's look around Zyon Grand, alright? So when I talk about resaleability, I'm also talking about who you can sell to next time. Now let's take a look around at where Zyon Grand is, okay? So Zyon Grand is located over here, as you guys can see. Now again, by crossing over, you already have the Havelock HDB flats, and over there, HDB flats don't go cheap. And as we go further down, we also can see Pinnacle at Duxton, which is our so-called grandfather of $1 million flats, which means buyers over there have the budget one. And then when we move further up to this side, we actually have the Dawson flat clusters, and we also have the Tiong Bahru Boon Tiong flat area. So you can see that essentially Zyon Grand is surrounded by all these exit strategy demands. And these owners, they on average pocketed between 400k on the low to 1 million on the high. And I think that forms a very clear so-called demand and exit per se, because they can easily afford the down payment to buy from you in the future when you choose to exit and when your property has already appreciated to the ideal level which you want. So they don't have to fork out extra cash because they have already benefited from having this HDB to help them build their capital, so that when you want to exit, you are able to sell it to them as well. And more importantly, my simple question to you guys is this. This group of people, right, this group of people, when they want to sell, where would they want to go? Naturally, they would just want to stay within the same locality because 被宠坏了, right? Naturally, Zyon Grand and some of the central region properties over there will be their absolute number one choice. In fact, there is not even a number two choice because I've met buyers in that location before, and then we try to discuss, I try to show them other locations, right? 怎么样都不要的，就是要这个 location, right? So it's already like a fixated thing, similarly to the service apartment concept lah, right? So in 5 to 7 years later, your resale buyers are actually ready and waiting. So you guys don't even need to pray for foreign demand. In fact, I think don't even need to pray because 60% ABSD 没有 foreign demand one. So that's why I say this is what I meant by resaleability with confidence. Alright, and next up, we will be talking about your entry prices. So let's look at entry prices for Zyon Grand itself, okay? So the land was actually bought at 1222 PSF per plot ratio, which is again lower than Promenade Peak's 1334. Does that mean that they will sell it cheaper? Well, I don't think so, right? Because if I'm a developer, I know that the market in that location has demand. I know also that the performance over there has been doing well. I'm a developer, my job is to make money, so why do I want to sell it cheap? Of course, again, this is where the oversupply thing comes into play, right? Because they know that they also have to move their product. So again, like I said, good timing or bad timing, you decide for yourself, alright? Now, indicative pricing, what we are thinking, it should roughly start at around 2,800 per square foot, and using Promenade Peak as a reference, it should go to the highs of 3,500 plus for the super high floors. And if Promenade Peak, as I mentioned, can hit 3,500 on their high floor 5 bedrooms, I don't think it's crazy to think that Zyon Grand can match that lah, correct? Okay, so from a pricing strategy point of view, here are some of the breakdown in terms of prices that you guys can be expecting. So in terms of pricing 来讲的话, right, you would see here later on as I dive deeper into the unit types, you will have a clearer understanding. But just for reference sake over here, right, the 1+ study, if we quote based on 2008 to 2006, is probably around 1.3 to about 1.7 if it's high floor. 2-bedroom compact, about 2008 to 3006 per square foot. Again, that is just me being more bullish or however you call it. Just quote a little bit higher so that you guys have a range, so that you guys as my followers and as my viewers, right, you all know where to set your walk away price, right? So 2008 to 3000 per square foot, 3006 per square foot is probably between 1.5 to to about 1.9. 3-bedroom deluxe, 2.4 mil to around 3 million. 4-bedroom premium will be about 3.9 to 5.1 million. And for 5-bedroom supreme, it will be about 5 to about 6.5 million. So in terms of pricing, this is what you guys probably can expect. And again, it is also boiling down to your queue number as well. So if you guys really decided to buy Sky at Holland or even this Zyon Grand new launch, right, you all got to pray to the ballot gods. 保比 ballot god 给你好好的 queue number， 不要太过分 within 100. I think very safe to get a good unit that you want. Alright? Okay, now moving on. Amenities. Okay, amenities for Zyon Grand is impressive lah. Okay, let's talk about facilities over here first, alright? So for facilities wise, I think it's pretty impressive together with the nice facade. And again, I will also bundle in facilities and amenities to include your MRT station, your Great World City, and your malls and things like that. But let's talk about the condo itself. Let's look at the site plan, right? So as you guys know, 2 blocks over here already. Now you have tennis court. I always think that condo that have tennis court is stronger lah. Don't know how to put it lah, but you know, having the luxury of this plot of land to put a tennis court, I think that is something quite thoughtful by the developers. Good size pool, you have something for swimming, you also have something for chilling, right? And you also have the usual peripheral facilities, right? Things like a clubhouse, you have lounge, you have a reception, you have playground, you even have a pets play area. Now let's look a little bit over here. This is what you guys can expect stepping into Zyon Grand, because in that location itself is a lot of buildings, a lot of offices and stuff like that, right? So having this kind of 世外桃源的 feel together with the organic facade feel of Zyon Grand, right? It actually breaks down that whole concrete jungle thing. There is also sky decks for you to enjoy the views that we have. Come, let's have a look at the views from the sky deck. How will it look like? It will look like something like this. Level 40 and above. Can you imagine? Wow. Every day, go to the sky deck and tell yourself, I've made it in life. Wow, do so well. I made it in life already. You can see Ion Orchard some more. So that's why I say this is the new wave of the core central region already, right? And on the south view, you can even see Sentosa, you can see CBD, you can have Tiong Bahru Food Center. I think the location and the amenities over here is one of what I would say, right, where you have the atas CCR vibe where you can have a meal for $200. Or you can have the local heartland hawker vibe where you can have a char kway teow for $3.50 or $4. 不错吗? Best of both worlds, right? Okay, continuing from here, you have aqua lounges, family zones. Again, why to have all these things? Even early childhood education center, retail and F&B, right? Why do they do this? It's because they are prepping themselves for the demand of a family crowd. And remember, early on we talked about it, right? If let's say the location or the project don't factor in natural demand from family crowd, then this project will generally get stuck. But in this case, developers are very clear who their target audience is already. So this would ensure the livability and the resaleability for this project itself. Lastly would be the livability and the layouts itself. So let's talk a little bit deeper on location, right? So you would have direct access to the Havelock MRT station, and from there you are 1 stop to Great World, 2 stop to Ion Orchard, 3 to 4 stops to the Marina Bay Financial Center. So location wise, how to fight? I also don't know how to fight. And then if you take 1 stop back, you will actually go to the Outram Park interchange, and over there you would have 3 interchanges there. So that is like 1 MRT stop to 3 interchange, which will connect you to whole of Singapore. I don't know how connected you want to be already. And again, for those of you who are school junkies, right, within a 1 kilometer radius, you also have River Valley Primary School. Nearby, you have ACS, ISS, and also Chatsworth. So if you are talking about the expatriate crowd who wants international school, it is also covered for. Now, in terms of groceries and dining, you do have your retail downstairs at your block itself at Zyon Grand, or you can just go over to the Great World, or you can even go to the Robertson Quay Cafe. Over there, everything is central and very convenient. So with this, right, you are actually buying the city living, not just with comfort, not just with address, but with a lifestyle that suits your day-to-day needs, and more importantly, suits the rentability needs of your potential tenant in the future. Alright, and with that, right, we will also be talking about layout, livability and layout. To me, this whole thing, both things go hand in hand. And running through the unit types as well, there is the 1+ study, okay? And then there is also the 2-bedroom premium, 2-bedroom premium plus study, 3-bedroom, the deluxe premium with study, the 4-bedroom supreme. Wow, supreme leader. Alright, and you also have the 5-bedroom supreme and also 2 penthouses totaling 706 units. Now, I would see a very interesting thing over here is that the 1-2 bedrooms, which typically it's more driven towards the investment feel, has been reduced. There's only 50 over units for each 1 and 2 bedroom. Whereas once you go from the 2-bedroom premium all the way to the 5, you actually see that there is a lot more 3-bedroom and 3-bedroom study. So about 200 units, close to 300 units of that. So you can say that almost half of the development is catered to the bigger units, which actually shows that this would definitely cater to the upgrader demand over there. And of course, there are people over there who haven't hit their MOP, right? So for you, if you guys were to buy as an investment, I would also ask you guys to look at the 3-bedroom instead of the 2, because your exit strategy will be more defined. Alright, now let's look at the floor plans together. Okay, so now we're going to go into floor plans, and this is the part where you guys will be like, same. Okay, I'll point out what are the main differences over here. Now, first thing, okay, for the 1-bedroom itself, you don't have a balcony. Different already, correct? So 474 square feet, all built-in space. You of course have the standard like a galley kitchen, but in addition, you still have a study area over here. So 474, you have the study, you have no balcony, you have a galley kitchen. Other than that, the Jack and Jill concept over here is again what we want. We don't want something that is closed up so that people have to come out of the bedroom to go into the bathroom. That one not so ideal lah. So this is for the 1-bedroom. If you are single, you just want to stay there, you want, to have the connectivity and everything. If I'm a single, maybe I will also buy this one, but I'm not. I'm very, very not available, okay, by the way. Alright, okay, now next up, we are looking at the 2-bedroom. Come, 2-bedroom, 538 square feet. 2-bedroom, 538 square feet. This one will be a 2-bed, 1-bath. Again, guys, no balcony, right? And also aircon latch not included. So this 538 square feet, essentially very, very efficient. Nowadays, we all talk about efficient. 2-bed, 1-bath, nothing too fancy if you guys see over here. Same thing, galley kitchen, decent size dining, 2-bed, 1-bath, Jack and Jill. Alright, so nothing fancy per se, but very efficient, very livable. Okay, now going up to the 2-bedroom premium. Now the 2-bedroom premium, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting over here. Now here with the 2-bedroom premium, you will actually have a balcony already. And if you guys notice, right, there is this curving facade over here. This is not your balcony, this is not your old time CCR where you get this kind of curvy balcony which is cannot use one. This is just a facade. Right, the balcony is still squarish, the rooms are still squarish, and they are all 9 square meter, and this one is more than 9 square meter. So sizable, this will be 2-bed, 2-bath. Okay, same thing, you have galley kitchen, living dining area as you can see over here. This part, nothing too much to analyze. Essentially, if you want a decent kind of workable 2-bed, 2-bath with a more traditional layout, because this is not a dumbbell, right, more traditional layout, then this is the one that you guys can consider. Okay, now 2-bed, 2-bath premium. Okay, now you all realize that every time when we talk about floor plan, I won't go very in detail because I realize everybody in YouTube is always talking about the floor plan and then they're going very, very, very deep inside. But I will tell you all, more importantly, is to understand the purpose behind buying lah. Because being able to select the perfect floor plan, you also need to pray to the ballot gods. So the ballot gods must favor you first. Alright, now for the 2+ study premium, 721 square feet. Dumbbell layout, some of you are love dumbbell layout. Okay, personally, I'm indifferent about it lah. I'm more about the project qualities, frankly. Alright, 2-bed plus study, 2 bathrooms, right? 1 Jack and Jill. This one, no Jack and Jill. In fact, actually, if I'm developer, I will break this wall over here. But looking at the floor plan, you can't break the wall, so no choice. This one is not attached bathroom lah. You have balcony, you have dumbbell, you have somewhat of a semi-enclosed kitchen. Why do I say that? Because your washer dryer is here, your fridge is on this side, so maybe you want to, you know, close this up if you want lah, right? Just to make this part an enclosed kitchen. But then again, I always say this lah, you stay on top of Great World, you stay at that location, don't need to cook lah. Go to Zyon Food Center, a lot of good food for you over there already. Now, study room, pretty decent size, right? If you don't want to use it as a study, you can also make this into a storeroom, right? So now you solve the problem, the developer has solved the problem of a 2-bed, 2-bath that doesn't have a storeroom, which you can convert the study into a storeroom. So this is pretty functional. Love the fact that it has a balcony. Personally, I like balconies, but I like usable balconies, not like the kind of like planter, narrow one that you stand there, you can put one plant there, stand there, and then contemplate why do you buy this unit with a planter. You should buy something with 1.5 meter balcony. This is livable, all right? Now, 3-bedroom, let's go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. Now, this is the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom layout, and well, I again, this part I'm not so convinced lah, because once you hit a 3-bedroom, right, generally the target audience would be family ma. Then when you have something like a galley kitchen, just personally, I think it's not my top choice. Just personal. But again, 我又自己打自己, right? Because I say don't need to cook. So how like that? Anyway, my own place also open kitchen so it is cookable, it is usable. Just that I know buyers, right? When we sell in the future, we always think of what objections the future buyers will have, and I'm thinking for the future. I'm thinking for the future buyer, not y'all. Y'all can buy this, no problem. Okay, this is not a dumbbell, traditional dumbbell, because traditional dumbbell is like that Traditional dumbbell 是这样. Right, this one is like that. This one is, there is something here, then go like that. Then there's a, hey, sorry. This one is wrong. This looks very weird. But you get my drift, Oh my god. Candice. Okay. Okay, so your dumbbell is like that and like that lah, Okay, so your master bedroom, bathroom is in the middle, and you have your 2 bedrooms kind of opening as a dumbbell over here, right? Over here. Okay, so you shorten the corridor space. So essentially, right, with a 818 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, it is really, friends, not small at all. Why? Your aircon ledge over here is non-strata. Your aircon ledge over here is also non-strata. So it is not small at all. You have a sizable, decent balcony. Your living room, okay, if you want to complain, living room wall to wall is 2.7 meters only. So some people say maybe a bit too small lah. But again, to each his own. If this one don't suit you, then maybe look at the next one. Okay, 3-bedroom premium. This one would be a bit different because this one you finally now have an enclosed kitchen. So this is still a 3-bed, 2-bath. 3-bed, 2-bath, wall-to-wall distance still 2.7 meters. Balcony, sizable, okay? Now, come into the house, you have an enclosed kitchen. The first enclosed kitchen layout would be the 3-bedroom deluxe. So, a bit of buying thoughts over here. So for me, I'm always like that. I want to buy something that is special from other people. So when I bought my reserve, right, mine was the only 3-bedroom with a private lift. So I think that is something that will be a plus point in the future when I sell. And again, it also kind of boils down to the location that I'm buying in. That location tends to be a little bit more atas per se, and people do like the fact of a private lift. So I decided to buy the 3-bedroom private lift because it's special. For you guys, right, if the ballot gods is on your side, you guys can choose to buy the 3-bedroom deluxe because it's the only 3-bedroom that has an enclosed kitchen. Yeah, I mean, from 1, 2, 3, the small 3, right, all don't have enclosed kitchen ma. So you buy the 3-bedroom deluxe. It's your first enclosed kitchen, and following after that all enclosed lah. Alright, but sizable wise, right, this is 861 square feet leh. So it's not really like a far cry from your previous 3-bedroom, but with this you get very relevant upgrades. So you come in, you have a enclosed kitchen. You also have this dumbbell side-by-side bedroom, which again eliminates the corridor space. You have a decent size master, 2 bathrooms, essentially nothing too much to complain. Overall, a very usable layout for an upgrader profile. Okay, now if you guys are feeling it more, you guys want to be fancy, you want to go for a 3-bedroom premium plus study. Like, pointing out the things that you guys want to know. First thing, got home shelter. Hosei got home shelter. Second thing, got helper's bathroom. Yay, now your helper have her own bathroom. Third thing, you have an extra study over here, which you don't use, and you can have this wide angle living and dining area. You can even shift your dining to be on this side. So now you have a wide angle dining area, and this entire space becomes your living and dining area. Okay, now 3 bed, 3 bath, 1, 2, 3 bath. You have 1 bedroom over this side, which forms the dumbbell, eliminating the corridor space. So 1055 square feet leh. 3 bedroom premium plus study, building in so many things and still feeling very, very sizable. This one is a power. I like this one. I really like this one. Okay, now moving forward. Oh yes, one more thing. Window in the kitchen, window in your helper's toilet, window in your common toilet, window in your master toilet. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I like this one. I like. Okay, now moving forward, another layout. This one will be the show flat unit lah. Okay, let me see. What's the difference over here? Difference not too much, not too big of a difference, frankly. I think if I were to look at this side by side, like no difference at all. But anyway, just so you guys know, this will be the one that you guys get to see at the show flat itself. So if you guys want to visit the show flat again, just hit me up. We can go and take a look together and we can analyze how to choose properly, and more importantly, to decide whether this is suitable for your needs or not. Alright? Okay, so those of you guys who are very familiar with the new launches layout, right, you would be very accustomed to something like this already, right? So you have your dumbbell junior master over here, and also the other bedrooms on this side. Now, let's look at the layout. Coming in from the private lobby, you have a dry kitchen. So this is good for hosting, especially in this location. If you're on a higher floor, you get very good views. Alright, and right behind this dry kitchen area and island top, this is good for hosting and stuff like that. And then you have, of course, your enclosed kitchen over here. You have a utility room, which can be a home helper's room, and your helper's bath over on this side as well. Okay, so this completes the whole backyard and kitchen area. Of course, you do have a back door. This would be useful for your helper or deliveries to come in and out from here. Alright? Okay, looking at the bedrooms, this portion I would think 大同小异, not too big of a difference. So your sizable bedrooms, queen size bed, 2 side tables, no problem. Your so-called common bathroom over here. So you only have 1 attached from the junior master and 1 attached for the master itself. You have a very sizable walk-in wardrobe. But if you look over here in the master itself, right, there is nothing jutting into your whole walking space over here because they have shifted the wardrobe all the way to this part, right? And this makes it makes furniture planning and space planning even better. You can decide to have more things in your master bedroom if you choose to. Alright? So this completes the 4-bedroom premium with private lift layout. 其实讲真的, there is not much. I don't know why people can talk about floor plan talk so long, but essentially you guys see it, you guys can visualize it, especially if you guys have been visiting a lot of show flats. This one is something that is quite common. More importantly, it's about your entry price. I think that's more important. Alright? 4-bedroom supreme. Now, why is it called a 4-bedroom supreme? And where is the supremeness of this? Come, let's have a look together. So now with the 4-bedroom supreme with private lift, you are going into 1518 square feet. And the main thing here is that there is no major change to the entire layout per se, but there are just some minor differences. So you do have a bigger master, right? You do have a bigger master bath because this one you have dual sinks and also a bathtub. Essentially, more or less throughout the house itself, you have some parts bigger and some parts smaller, right? So it is really whether we want to be fixated on the size and are you fixated on the dual sink, because this is the first thing that juts out a lot for me. Some people say I must have dual sink, if not 早上起来会吵架. Okay, so if this is you, then maybe this layout 4-bedroom supreme with private lift will be the one for you. Now, then we go to the 4-bedroom premium with study. Now, 顾名思问, 顾名思义, 4-bedroom premium with study. No. 3, 2, 1. 4-bedroom supreme plus study. 顾名思义就是 you have a plus study咯. Correct or not? Yeah, overall, nothing too much has changed. Right? Yes, we do have the dual sink bathtub. You have an additional study over here. Alright, so again, minor differences, yeah, up to your individual needs depending on what you guys prefer. Okay, 5-bedroom supreme with private lift. Here you can see the floor plan. I'm not going to dive too deep into it because the video is going to be super long. Just remember, 4-bedroom. Okay, your dumbbell is junior master, and then the rest of the bedrooms is over here. Okay, 5-bedroom premium, 5-bedroom supreme, you have 2 bedrooms over here and 3 bedrooms over here just to balance out the whole dumbbell. Okay, so if you look at it, things itself, at one glance you won't see too major of a difference. And this is why I think it's always better to go down to the show flat to experience the layout for yourself, to experience the quality and the finishes for yourself. And again, for this one, there is also one thing special, which you have a penthouse. And if you guys are a penthouse buyer, don't worry, don't need to listen to this YouTube analysis. Call me, meet me, I will do a private sharing with you guys, alright? Wow, that's a lot of information to digest. I know. So all in, right, let me just summarize for you guys. You guys entering into Zyon Grand, if you want a strong exit strategy, you have a strong future upgrader pool. Your entry price, yes, it's not cheap, but it is competitive. In terms of facilities wise, full suite, even have MRT, shopping mall and whatnot. School within 1 kilometer also have. Strong livability and location is unparalleled. Also, in short, right, Zyon Grand fits perfectly into the rail framework, resaleability, entry price, amenities and livability. So if you guys are considering on the project itself, again, this gives you an overview, but more importantly, right, is it just choosing the right product? In fact, I tell many people this today, if you buy the right product, but wrong stack, wrong facing or wrong layout, jialat. Also GG. Right, so what we can do is arrange a one-to-one session where I can run through with you guys the right step, right layout, and even the right product based on your goals. So you guys can WhatsApp me directly if you want a customized solution, or just scan the QR code to join my Telegram community where I share my insights and exit strategies. Alright, so that's all for you guys today. This is the Zyon Grand Project Analysis. My name is Veroy from The Real Collective. Real people, real estate, real results, and I'll see you at the next one.